Hi, happy Saturday. Hope everyone's alright. Oh, I've had some heavy thoughts wanting to come through today. Like, not fresh thoughts, but kind of like some kind of urgency, you know, and you're like, aha, and it's something so fucking basic, but yeah, so it's like this is kind of a journal and just some bullshit from me to me, but I do always hope that someone gets something from it somewhere, you know, and it's like at the start of my soul's awakening, at the start of the madness, I felt such a strong message or need to sort of like for women to get real, you know, for women to get real. And I mean, looking at things now, I'm like, God, we all need to fucking get real, and this is the only thing we need to do. Oh, and it's so interesting. It's so difficult. This this evolution of consciousness, continuously expanding your awareness and forgiving and loving and experiencing these higher states of consciousness and awareness. And it's not always like being on cloud nine. Like sometimes it's a nightmare. Oh, and you know, it really did remind me of the first throes of this awakening for me, and just how trippy things actually were. You know, it really felt like I was living in a simulation. Everything felt holographic and scripted and fake, and you know, the information that I was coming across for the first time as well just blew my mind. And also I'd been experimenting with like psychedelics for healing as well, and so that had obviously blown my mind apart in some other ways. And yeah, and that really was the start of my journey. And it's still not that long ago, you know, it's not that long ago that I was anxious, depressed, down, just struggling so bad inside, and just keeping it all in and just pulling it all in. And I acknowledged to myself earlier, I was pinning back, you know, down to where it was that mentally I acknowledged that I needed to change. And it was when I was pregnant with my first child. As soon as I realised that I was pregnant, I started to get so anxious, and the weight of responsibility came on me in so many ways. I really just struggled. Like, I didn't enjoy the pregnancy. I didn't feel like I was glowing. I didn't sleep, and yeah, and anyway, and I found it really hard. And I feel like when I realised that point in my pregnancy, it was because at that point in my perception, I'd been so traumatized by my own childhood, or how I'd perceived it then, my own parents, you know, that I didn't want to perpetuate that cycle onto my child. I realised how fucking important it is that we as parents just do our best to heal and to free ourselves and to be authentic and the best example for our kids that we can be. It really just felt to me at the start of my awakening, it was like that women can change the world, you know, if we can be the best mothers that we can, you know, that's going to go a long way. And I think like the reason that I feel I can talk about it is because I feel like I've been there before, in that state of anxiety and depression and weight of responsibility, and alone and feeling alone with no support. And at the same time, because I remember at that point I was on Facebook, and so I was seeing people with their fake profiles and glossy pictures of the perfect kids, and like I'd not slept or eaten in weeks. Like my fanny was blown apart, my child had colic. I wouldn't let anyone leave him to cry, or you know, it was just like, ugh, it was full on trauma and neuroses, and yet at the same time I knew that I needed to keep getting better and better and better, because the energy of what I was carrying in me and around me was going to affect the kids. And so from the minute I got pregnant, I just tried to do what I could, and that's what led me onto the research of the psychedelic healing, and it helped so much. The first thing it did, the magic mushrooms, made me stop drinking just straight away. Like, at that point I'd sort of I'd not been going out since before I got pregnant, really, anyway, but it was just like, right, that's just gone. And I remember feeling like, at that point, because this was before any kind of spiritual awakening, I guess, it was the first chance, actually thinking about it, I was 28, so it would have been my Saturn return, maybe that was the profundity of it, I don't know, but like, so anyway, and the psychedelics helped, and I just started finding out information that was feeding my soul and helping me heal, whatever that type of information was. I think at that point it was psychedelic research and, a bit of psychology stuff, and carried on, but still being in quite a bit of trauma. So what I'm saying is, I've been there, and I haven't got many friends or family around me, but the very few connections that I do have and the observations that I make are very similar across the board. And that it seems to be that, like, the more that individually we've all suppressed ourselves, suppressed our own expression of truth, whether that's in codependent relationships, or just being a perpetual people pleaser, or just being so traumatized that, we end up in cycles of addiction, or, blah, blah. And, and I'm looking around, right, and I see that there's a lot of neurosis, right? And again, I feel I can say this because I have swam within the energy of neuroses for a long time before getting to where I am now. And again, it's like, where I am now is nothing to do with what information I've consumed. I'm talking about an alchemical transformation of my own chemistry within my own blood. That's the alchemy. I don't feel like alchemy, I don't know, again, words, whatever. I'm going to try and keep this to my thoughts and try not to be a hypocrite during this little rant. So along my own healing journey, I have only been able to progress steps in terms of releasing densities within my chemistry, or how that could manifest in a physical way of, like, forgiving those people who've hurt you, or starting to love yourself, feeling unconditional love, knowing we are all connected. All these juicy things help us climb Jacob's ladder, ascend. But the journey's hard, isn't it? Jesus Christ. Oh, man. It's so interesting as well. I've written down here, perspective Tim's garden, because I was having a little moan, wasn't I, like a spoilt brat with my first world problems. And Tim, Temple of Stone, he just commented, half jocularly, like as a sort of semi-joke, but not a joke, because, like, he's like, God, you're lucky you've got grass that the moles can fucking chew up, I'll swap you for my 8 foot, whatever, concrete grass overlooked by 10 neighbours. And immediately I was, like, hit by such a humble, like a humble sword or whatever, or a slap across the face. It was like, oh shit, because obviously I'd turned into a spoilt brat and started, because it's so true. I've got to remember to be grateful for everything I've got. I've got a really big garden. It's so fucking nice as well, and it's bumpy and lumpy and muddy now, and moles are underneath it, but God, like, how lucky I am for that. And I do often think about that. So And once that had humbled me, also I passed that on to somebody else, and it helped them in their own situation that day as well. So it's just really important that we can be honest enough with each other to help each other out like this, you know. Reminders like, you're lucky, stop moaning. So yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about this mass psychosis that's going on. And I've been really inspired by some stuff I've been watching recently. In particular, Richard Grannon. You should definitely check out his channel if you're interested in good banter and psychological chat and, you know, truth about what's going on at the moment. Really great channel. And he's been doing some videos with a lady called UG Rose. And I've been watching them on Instagram. And I'm going to put the latest video here if I can. I think it was called Traversing the Anima and Animus. And I really wanted to expand upon this because I feel like since I've come into the awareness of this concept of Carl Jung's, I'm like, whoa, I feel like this is what's happening. This is what has happened to me, and also potentially like collectively. So I've got a few notes because it's something that I'm only just learning about, but energetically I know what Carl Jung is describing here, and I'm willing to put my hand up and go, holy shit, like potentially my whole trauma ended up with me being possessed by the unconscious male archetype within me, you know. So let me expand upon this. Right, okay, so the anima and animus, so it's a Carl Jung concept of like analytical psychology, and he describes these as part of the collective unconscious. So for a woman, the animus is the unconscious masculine side, and for a male, the anima is the unconscious feminine side of a man, each transcending the personal psyche. So, and in Jung's theory, the anima and animus are the two primary anthropomorphic archetypes of the unconscious mind. And he goes on to sort of, I've only just looked at a few bits on Wikipedia a few hours ago and got inspired because I feel like I know what he's trying to say, and I'm wondering if I can use modern language and my own lenses to acknowledge that within me, you know, in order for me to develop this within me, because I'm just digging this anyway. So this is clearly for me to make. 1313, feel free to switch off. Okay, so anima for men appears as a relatively singular female personality, and for women, the animus may consist of a conjunction of multiple male personalities, therefore symbolising the fact that the animus represents a collective rather than a personal, can't even read my own writing, a personal something. So it's this. So it's like, and I've heard Richard Grannon talk about, and UG Rose talk about this, and in this video it was called Traversing the Anima and Animus. And basically I feel like the conversations that need to be spoken about openly and honestly within each sex and gender respectively, regardless, doesn't matter, it's just this honesty about the feelings within us, how we're feeling. And, you know, I've touched on it before about rage within me, or anger, and I mean many things. It's like, I think essentially I use these videos as therapy to confess my sins, you know, in order to address this part of me, you know, to make myself aware of it and to state the awareness as well to a witness, you know. I'm aware of this. So, and Jung talks about how it's quite dangerous. He talks about how you could only be aware of the anima or animus once you've done a lot of your own shadow work, looking at the shadow archetypes in Jung's concept, or just fucking looking at your own shit in normal language. And, you know, I've definitely done a lot of that, and now I'm like, shit, I'm aware of this now, and I'm like, yeah, is this what is this energy that I have been controlled by, you know, that I'm trying to merge these polarities within me, and that now I'm actually in control of my animus, you know, whereas before maybe it was in control of me, and therefore I was feeling rageful and bitter and neurotic and, you know, all the worst parts of a female, basically. And again, this is not to shit on myself or anyone, it's to acknowledge it. Like, today's society makes people sick regardless of your gender. We're not living in tribes, we're not supporting each other, we're not authentic, we don't get support or protection from government or state. We get preyed upon and manipulated and just controlled, basically. And so yeah, it made me think about that idea of being possessed, because Jung goes on to say that, you know, you can be possessed by this archetype, this, you know, unconscious opposite sex archetype within you. And that, you know, individually we all need to become aware of their anima or animus respectively, and in doing so we learn to control it, and then we can discover a bridge to the collective unconscious through the development of that. And he was talking about, so for, and I know Richard Grannon's been using yin and yang quite a lot, which is kind of helpful. Yeah, so for a man, if they can control their unconscious feminine side, obviously it's potent. Again, it's just the polarities merging. So the creative force is there, the creation, the feels, the, you know, the spark of everything would. And again, he said for women as well, being in control of that masculine unconscious allows the female to, you know, propel in life like the yang, you know, like the masculine energy of doing, assert, you know, bravery, courage, survival, you know. And I'm like, oh shit, yeah, it really feels like this, for me personally, is what I'm aware of. And like, I've called it, like, you know, like the dragon before. It's like, you got to tame your dragon. And it's the same thing, you know, it's just energy. It's not like there's a little man in there that's my animus, you know, little man. It's like, it's just energy. And Jung, again, he talks about them, how they're different to the shadow archetypes, in terms of we're not always gonna have these archetypes because of experiences with mummy or daddy or whatever. These are more like, what do we call them? Primary anthropomorphic, which sounds like it's something primal and old, doesn't it? Before concepts like transgenders and things like that. Yeah, so I was wondering whether collectively our ability individually, but as women, I can only talk for like women, so as a woman who has suffered in trauma and who has felt all that energy, and who is only now, after so much inner work, able to slowly goddamn release it, you know. And I look around at the women around me and I'm like, I feel the neurosis, I feel the trauma, I see how up in the heads they are, how AWOL they are, you know, they're not present with the kids at all, there's no eye contact and laughter, there's lots and lots of trauma going on. And when that happens, there's family breakdowns, the world's shit, it's like, things are difficult. I wanted to be sick then, fuck. Whoosh, let me just take a drink and a breath, fucking hell. Yeah, it's just, and so I'm seeing this like reality where, again, mental health, by the way, the squeaky chair, I'm not farting. Oh shit, 20 minutes. Mental health is being used. Everybody wants an acronym after the name now. Everybody wants to have ADHD or ADD or Asperger's or bipolar or borderline or, oh, he's a narcissist or she's a super psychopath or sociopath. And, you know, we can intellectualize these concepts, but really we're only judging on reactions that have been personal to us, and so quite often we're unfairly labeling, and we do that so we can shift the blame away from every party, really. And it's like then this distorted energy, which we're labeling as A, B, C or D or LBTQ gay, whatever, the acronyms, the labels, it's like they then take this energy, it takes us away from being able to realise it's our own and to acknowledge our own part in that, you know, in order to grieve, despair, heal, forgive, move on, integrate, you know, evolve. Oh man, so yeah, and just like the collective weird shit that's going on, like I said, with this attempting to sexualize young kids, like there's some really disturbing shit that is going on, and I'm doing my bit to address it in real life, like, because things are really fucking weird. And I'm shocked that teachers, and I'm not shocked, you know, because again, it's like people are possessed. And it was that word Carl Jung's like, if you don't control this energy, it will control you. You become possessed by it. And then I was like, possessed, control, yeah, control, possessed. That's kind of what it is. And so these people that we view as soulless or lacking or dead or fucking NPCs or zombies or whatever. Oh my God. And like, it's like they're possessed by illusion, by fear, by the media, by the brainwashing, by the governments, by anybody, anywhere. And it's such a shame. We need to be bold and creative and courageous and authentic and true. And we're policing ourselves. We're censoring ourselves. People are doing things they don't want to do because they're scared of what could happen. And a lot of these things are just illusions and just tricks to make us bend over. And yeah, I don't know, it's just interesting. I feel like we have a tendency to label things, you know. Our children have got this wrong with them, or, you know, our boyfriend's got this wrong with him, or blah, 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 blah. And again, man, I don't know. I just feel like that for a female, that anima, was it anima or animus for the female? Whatever, that unconscious male within the female, if that is not healed and then grounded, that energy spirals. And I think that's what's happening with this Karen business and all these crazy fucking people everywhere. And I think there's a reason why women got there, and I'm not saying there's not reasons for it and women haven't been persecuted and blamed and shamed and all that, and I'm not great on women's history, but I can imagine. But also, I'm just talking from my point now, my experience, my point in history, and I'm just like, I feel like women are hiding a lot of things. We need to start talking about things honestly, you know, not just acting clever with a hashtag mental health or whatever and your new Snapchat filter or, you know, whatever it is. It's like we need to own up to our own shit. Why do people want to put labels on the kids at such a young age as well? Why do they want that? Because it shifts the blame, doesn't it? It shifts the blame over. It's like you can forgive yourself and other by using a label. I've had so many lessons of my own. I've been massively humbled by my own distorted labeling. And it was only at a certain point in my journey that I was even able to see that. And so in a way, it's like, what do we expect of everybody else? It's like there already is a mass psychosis now, and men are acting like women and women are acting like men, and it's deliberately done to cause division and to break the family unit up and to pitch people against each other. And it's part of all of this, isn't it? So yeah. Yeah. So it's coming for everybody. Everybody will have to face their own shit at some point. But I was just pondering, 1414. Whether that's what's going on. It's like you see these men standing 6 foot back in queues and wearing flowery masks, and everybody around here, it's like the capital of virtue signaling around here, People wouldn't dare put a foot wrong or say the wrong thing. And I don't know, I looked up the vaccination count in this county where I am. It's a big place, Derbyshire, and I think it's northeast Derbyshire where I am here, but I think there's only been like 300 COVID deaths supposedly since the start of the scary old pandemic. And it was like underneath the vaccination figures came out, and it was like something ridiculously high, that most people around here had already had the second jab. And I'm like, yeah, probably. I think I know everyone in this area who's not having a vaccination, and I could probably count them on both hands. So, but yeah, it was nice to see the London protests anyway, and to just understand that there is a lot of us. And it's never happened before at this time, where we've had the internet and we can communicate so rapidly across the world. It's so interesting. Yeah, what a time to be alive. But yeah, anyway, so I'm just wondering that. I mean, people are fucking wild. It's crazy. They want to teach sex education in infant schools. People are allowed to take hormone blockers at the age of 9. I mean, I think this is abuse. This is abuse. This is child abuse. There's so many different types of abuse going on, and people don't do anything about it. Like, I literally, I mean, it shocks me. It's like, yeah. So sometimes you just have to do what you need to do, don't you? Because sometimes people need waking up to the fact that things are fucking rotten and wrong. And, yeah. Oh, I'm excited for the day when this all gets rectified and whatever. Right, I'm going to get off now. Is that all I wanted to say? Labels. Yeah. That'll do. Right. See you later. Happy Saturday. Bye.